I need a haircut, don't I? Yeah, I need a haircut. Good evening, everybody. Snuffy Smith again, aka Beowulf, aka what else? My other character, Beowulf, aka something else, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, I do that because the fact is that I just changed my name just to keep Facebook from banning me, and also from other people actually want to know who I am or too much business if they want to know about me. But anyway, today, thank you for coming on or watching this video. Today we are going to go over. We see that Uvalde has started hearings from their city committees. I guess it's their city council, and also I'm starting to think that it's their commissioners. Anyway, they are actually holding a hearing, and they started the hearing this morning. I did post it on my Facebook pages and my Twitter pages, but it really wasn't anything because they immediately did all their introductions. They all got to say what they wanted to say on record, how appalling this was or whatever, to go on record. And as soon as they all got on record, they said they have witnesses and they have individuals that they have called forward to testify. So they immediately went into uh, what is it called? Private. Anyway, oh man, what am I talking? God dang, I can't remember what the hell I'm saying. Whatever. Oh, private session to interview these witnesses and these facts. So we didn't get to participate. We don't get to see the particular hearing or see the whole entire hearing. Now, this was done on design because the fact is, it's the CYA deal. It's cover your ass. They wanted to get their statements out on the record, and then they wanted to make sure that everybody understood how they're going to say how appalling it is or whatever, and then you don't get to hear what they're questioning the witnesses on or asking the witnesses or nothing. So it's a basic CYA that they do in Texas. They use that section of 552 that they can actually call a private session whenever they want to. It's supposed to be only for employees' jobs and real estate transactions. There are a couple more that I believe, but the majority is that they have a behind the scenes vote, and they don't even have to tell you what they voted on, how everybody voted. So um, this way they can get their statements out and not be held accountable. But that's the start of the CYA. As all of you know, um, this is going to get worse. The CYA. This is just going to start at the bottom and work itself up to where we're going to actually have probably our governor have to testify in some type of hearing on the information that he received. I read yesterday that he has, there's an article, I think it appeared in Newsweek, that um, now they're questioning who actually gave him the information that he was so livid over. Apparently, our governor was not getting the real deal from tactical commanders that were on the ground, and that he believed the situation was over. It was a lockdown situation. He was preparing himself for more information. Come to find out, they lied to him. Now, well, he's still not. We still don't know where the shooter is or whatever. So put the governor, put the governor in a damn bad light. It's like, well, who thinks some bitches that work for you? I can't even tell you the truth. Or they don't know the truth. That's scary within itself. But this is all going on with Uvalde, and this is probably the first step that we're going to start seeing these committees. And there's going to be a lot of questions that have already been asked by the public. People want to understand because this is probably I don't know. Every time you have a shooting, they always say this is the worst in the United States history, or I don't know where it ranks. Um, as far as in the top three, top five, or whatever. I get conflicting stories, but what I can tell you is that this is the worst mass shooting in Texas that I have been a witness to or have heard of. I mean, we had Vegas, we had Pulse nightclub, we had Parkland, Columbine, Aurora, but we had all of these. I know it's too many to count of, but this one is really affected me and citizens of Texas, because the fact is that Uvalde is not a very large town. It's a small town, and by standards, I think there's the population is like 16,500, um, and in the I think I don't know if that's countywide or just in the city of Uvalde, but the issue is that it hits home because this could happen to us in Texas. I don't know where we've got the mentality that we are immune to we're immune to active duty situations. We know more about we know more about active duty shooting situations in any other state. Um, we're protected. We've got law enforcement to protect us, and blah blah blah. All of these things that we believed in, we're finding out now they're not true. The cops don't have to protect and serve us. They get to choose if they want to go in or not. We necessarily don't have a chain of command prepared for an active shooter drill to protect our kids. We were going off the assumption, and we still go by the assumption, that law enforcement and the school district has got this shit covered. We don't have to worry about it. Our kids are safe when they walk through school, when they go to school. The whole time they're there, and they by the time from the time they leave there to the time they get home, or I'm sorry, leave the school, and by the time they get home, that they are protected by some unknown force, and this is just not the case. I said it and I'll say it again. Law enforcement's, as we've learned constitutionally in the Parkland shooting, that the RSO officer, he wasn't being accountable for not going in. They brought out that part of their SOP, standard operating procedures, to where it actually stated officers may enter the room. In Angelina County, we don't have that. We don't have that opportunity to look at our standing operating procedures for our police department, our sheriff's department, our police departments, are those who are actually responsible for safety and well-being of our children while they're at school. Greg Sanchez, the sheriff of Angelina County, says no, it's top secret. We don't have to provide you that information. We don't have to tell you how we're going to react. We don't have to tell you how our officers are going to behave. We don't need to do. It's top secret information. However, the fact is that if you look at that statement by itself, it's like, okay, we don't know which officers may or may not decide to go inside the building if children are being killed. We don't know. Transparency dictates the fact is that we need to know, so that we as a public can actually put in place our own safety measures. So in other words, we need to know where you stop and ours begin. This was not put in writing to any of the parents or the children at Uvalde. Case in point, because the fact is that we had parents that were going in to the school because they physically saw officers not doing anything to save whichever children were in there. These parents didn't know or not if their children were in the building. All they knew, there was somebody shooting, and it was their loved one was in the building. That's all these parents needed, was to go. I got to do something, because they saw the lack of preparation. They saw the lack of coordination on the ground. I'm like, shit, somebody's got to do something. I guess I got to do something, But the transparency and the lack of transparency in not only our DPS office, but also local sheriffs and local police departments, we're not supposed to know. It's top secret. So how in the hell do I know what you're going to do and what you're not going to do? Well, the bad guys will figure it out. Let me tell you this right now. There are probably, just in schoolhouses right next door to me over here, there are probably 70, 80 ways that you could probably attack that school, and they all involve the front door. So everybody knows that they're coming to the front door. Everybody knows they're going to isolate the situation. So we can't possibly determine where it comes, but there ought to be a generic go-to list that teachers, faculty, and students have a plan of attack, or not attack, have a plan to exit this building safely, to remain safe and get as many children out as possible, faculty members and also teachers included. It should be in a packet that you send home. The parents have to sign and bring back. It should be that every 2-3 months that our county sheriff's department goes and visits the school, sees if any changes that affects his ingress, egress of the situation. What is the actual threat? How can he constantly updating this to keep up with what the school's doing that would actually hinder, and so he can overcome these obstacles. Many people state that we should have teachers armed. We should have not lie detector tests, but metal detectors. That we should have different people that are responsible for these children while they're at school. I think it's simple as this. I think it's simple as having the law enforcement having a presence on school grounds. I think that part of their patrolling techniques are patrolling of the city or county should include sheriff's department riding through the parking lot, making sure everything's okay. An officer going inside the school building saying, "Hey, checking with the RSO officer if we noticed anything or whatever. Hey, why don't you go with me? I'm going to take a tour here to see if I see any obstacles that we have to overcome." It is not to inconvenience the citizens or the children or make them scared or have to attend an environment like that. What it is to allow these children to see that there is cops here, that they haven't forgot about us, and God forbid they understand when we call in and when a child calls in that they're calling 911 for a reason. Put a face to the name. Maybe we can get a better reaction. In Texas, we have this persona. We have a persona of law enforcement officers being the enemy. Where did we get this? Where did this idea pop into our head? It's the way that the officers treat us. They demand us to comply. They will use any means necessary to get you to go to jail. Their promotions, their raises, everything that they do to get better at their job or to improve rank and improve their pay structure is done on how many arrests you make. It don't make no damn bit of difference if you're guilty or not. All he cares about is a sign that some bitch is in jail. I sign the police report, and guess what? I get credit for that on my review board. So in essence, they're putting money, how much money they make, over the person's rights that they are arrested. They don't generally, and this I speak for Texas, they do not generally have a very good reputation in the community. Where I live in Angelina County, well, you can't tell somebody, "Well, I'm gonna have to call the cops." Go ahead. Wait till tomorrow. They'll be here tomorrow. Or who are they going to send? Humpty Dumpty over there? If you took it on average, and if you looked at it average and you looked at the type of personnel who actually apply for the Texas Police Department, DPS, local, whatever, you're going to find out that most of them, when they were in high school, that they were bullied. And then whenever they got to be juniors and seniors in high school, they participated in the bullying. They demand respect. If they don't get that respect, then they will take their full power of authority and they will use and make shit up to make sure you understand that I'm the boss. I got a badge, I got a gun, which makes me automatically smarter than you are. and they have no restraints upon use of force. Here recently, they just now came out in Texas, and they're actually honoring it, that police officers could not put someone in a chokehold, choking too many people out. Well, Officer Denby of the Angelina County Police Department, I don't know if he's along in there or whatever. I don't think he is. I hope he's not. But he applied the chokehold. I know for a fact. And the individual did pass out. The individual was suffering from PTSD. The individual was lost. He had his medications had not worked. He had not taken his medications because he forgot when. And guess what? The altercation came back, and the officers assumed, didn't understand what a PTSD or a mental crisis was, acted, and they enforced, escalated the situation to the point to where the veteran didn't have any outs. They didn't leave anyway, anything else for the veteran to do but defend himself. But then the charges that went up against the officer was that the veteran attacked the officer. So in other words, if the cop comes at you with a taser gun or comes with a club or something like that, and you go like this to protect yourself, you're engaging the officer and you've committed a crime. It doesn't matter what gun control activists believe. In Texas, it's going to be on the record. I mean, you will be, and I would say 95% of the time, if you have a weapon on your person, even though it's lawfully to carry that weapon on your person, you're going to jail for something. They're going to find something for you to go to jail. They're going to find some kind of violation, some kind of shit or whatever, because you can't challenge their authority in public. You now have a way to fight back against unwanted, illegal activity that the police are going to put you through to put you in jail to get that signature so they can get paid. That's what it's all about. And it came down to this. Even in our own sheriff's department in Angelina County, we actually have sheriff's deputies on record saying, the county don't pay me enough money now for me to kick your ass. Make what the guy said, he make $30,000 a year. I don't know. I can't confirm or deny because our sheriff will not release that information out to the public. And there's not a transparency in his office because it's a top secret club and we're not in it. But what comes to show is the fact is that, that's the kicker. I can do anything I want because I'm only making $30,000 a year. Who gives a shit? I don't know. And then we have the problem of gypsy cops. Here in Angelina County, we've had cops who have actually committed crimes and had to retire from Angelina County. Now they're working in Diboll, working in Huntington, working in Lufkin, Hudson, and they've been fired from the other unit or from other police police agencies that are in the county. We don't know how many come from another county that have committed laws or committed violations of human rights or citizens' rights. This is who we get. The answer is pay them more. Okay, let me refute that. I want to pay the good officers more. I want to pay the good officers, and what I mean by that, I want the officers who are willing and able and wish to be better trained. I want to promote and pay the officers who give a shit about the citizens. I want to pay officers to continue education, to that to adhere to weight and size control and height and weight parameters. And I want an officer who's due diligent in all of his affairs and represents my county, my town, and looks as if he's doing so. I don't want Superman. I don't want, all I want is for you to actually understand that you do work for us. It does not give me any rights or privileges over you. However, the fact is, I want to be treated like a human being. I don't want you to treat me like shit. I don't want you to lie to me on purpose. I don't want you to trick me into saying something that I'm going to go to jail for, and then I got to go to court 3 months, 4 months, a year later, and prove that you shouldn't even arrest the son of a gun. But this is the state of affairs that we're in. I have heard many, and I keep up with many horror stories that across the United States about police misbehavior, about police breaking the law when it comes to citizens. And there are rare occasions where we get to hold them accountable, where the court makes the decision, says, no, you can't do that. For example, our chokehold law. That all went into law in Texas because of the fact is it wasn't even George Floyd. It was a set circumstances where they finally had to look at chokehold and say, no, you can't be doing that because the doctors told them, you know what, you're going to kill us. You can't breathe, you're going to kill somebody. It wasn't George Floyd, it was other people. It's acceptable to the public to where we have to settle. This mind-boggling to me. This is the type of people that I deal with. We had a case that we settled out of court in Angelina County for $456,000 for the wrongful death of a female inmate in the Angelina County jail. The response from the public was, well, good thing insurance paid for it. If we would have had to pay $460,000 and our insurance didn't pay, we're going to get pissed in. Follow that mentality for a second, because the fact is that you have just admitted, there's a price on quality of life. In Angelina County, you can go to jail and you can either be killed or you can actually have an accident or whatever. You will die in jail as long as, and it's acceptable to the community, as long as it don't exceed $456,000, which our insurance will pay. That is the mentality we deal with in Texas. That is the mentality that too many people have ingrained in their system. Well, the law said he did. The law said it. Hell, it must be right. Nobody questions the law officers. People think they see a badge and they automatically tell the truth. That's just not the case here. We have it all around us. I read a book. I do have this book, but it's about Palestine and here north of us and the corruption that was going on in Palestine. It was drug related. The chief of police was actually selling and actually making a profit or extra paycheck for the drug trade that he had going through Palestine. And it was actually an FBI agent who actually investigated the case and followed it all the way through. And it gives you an idea how many people are involved in that. What I learned from that book, as far as East Texas, is that just because somebody does, if you know what's going on, and you know that your police department or your sheriff's department is making a profit off of drug deals, or not arresting certain individuals because they're involved in a gang community or they are in drugs community, and they are trafficking drugs through your county. And if you know about this and you don't know that means you accomplished through the crime. Can't seem to get that mentality in Texas. Everyone who lives in Texas knows right now where you can call and get some marijuana. Everybody. That's why this shit, you should make that shit legal. Because the fact is that now, I mean, I don't smoke marijuana. I never have. I never have. I don't take any mind altering drugs. I take enough for my frickin' PTSD to begin with, and my frickin' joints and my pain, so I don't have to worry about that. I don't even take painkillers because I'm so scared of being addicted. So I don't take them. But everybody in Texas knows where they can call right now and say, "Hey, I need to get some marijuana. Can you send me some?" People will drive by your house and drop it off. How can they be? How can that shit just happen? Well, because the fact is, the cops know about it. You are mayor's son, somebody else's son, and guess what? And we don't arrest you. You're special. It's okay. We have commissioners in Angelina County. It's okay that all of your commissioners can be indicted or be questionable about the money they spend, have something that they have done that's questionable and should be held accountable in court, but they're allowed to practice. We, the people, we allow them to practice and make decisions for us every day and continue to make decisions that will ultimately affect their future. Let me clean that up for you. If you know you've been indicted for something, okay, and you know that you've been caught doing something wrong, but you're in a position of power, guess what? You're going to employ whatever means necessary to make sure there's players involved that make sure you don't go to jail and keep your seat. If not, if you make too many enemies, then you're not going to be able to survive your office. No, I don't mean survive killing. I'm just mean you're not going to be able to be reelected. We have a case in point, Bobby Cheshire, a precinct 4 commissioner. Cheshire was indicted. First of all, it should be warning signs there. First of all, misappropriation of funds. He spent money, county money, on getting trackers put on all of his family vehicles. His general reason why he wanted to be able to track his workers whenever he needed to and find out where they were at. When all actuality, he was putting these devices on his family. He put one on his stepdaughter's vehicle. She found out and she got pissed. First time the sheriff's department was called to his house. I saw him. They let him slide there, gave him a warning. He basically kept doing this multiple times until finally they had to do something, because the fact is that he not only did he knock the shit out of his stepdaughter, but he kidnapped his wife, threw her in the car, wouldn't let her get out, all because who he was. At that point in time, the wife and the stepdaughter, we've had enough. We want this guy gone. His power that he has in town over all these people that he has in his county, we're going to stand up to that, because we don't want him anywhere around us anymore. I don't know if they currently live here or not. His wife, I don't even know if they reconciled. I don't know. All I know is you don't know where in the hell that son of a bitch is at. I haven't been able to find him in TDC records, and I haven't been able to find out which housing unit he's in, and it should be in the records. He's a powerful man. So this is what we're up against. In the news today as well is the fact is that we have David Stewart, who made a plea deal. I'm not for sure about the years that he's going to have to serve. I know he's going to get credit for a lot of time served. I believe it was 2 years that it took them to bring him to trial. The funny part about this is that the 2 parts that he was found guilty on was perjury and in front of the grand jury, best I could obtain. But the other sexual charges, they just disappeared. They weren't that important. But they held him for the perjury charges. So I believe he got like 10 years. Did 2 years, 8. He'll be out in 4. But this is how people are to be expect to be treated whenever you speak out or if you utilize your rights. Now, I'll be the first one to tell you this David Stewart did some shady deals. I don't know his entire background. I do not know who all was involved or whatever. All I can do is actually put the pieces together and come up with my own hypothesis. But either way, it's bad. The court system treated David Stewart badly. They made this individual serve time when he didn't, but he broke his constitutional rights by him making him serve 2 years before they brought him to trial. I don't know if he's guilty or innocent. I saw the videos of him actually saying he was naked, whatever. I didn't see it, but obviously they had enough cases against him to arrest him and put him in jail and actually issue bond for him. The reason why his bond was revoked was because of they required him, if they're going to let him out, to actually have an ankle bracelet on him so they could keep track of it. He could not leave Angelina County. This this bracelet that he had to wear was $400 a month just to wear the bracelet. David Stewart is not. He has not made of money. He is not a man of good means. He makes do like everybody else. But they strapped him right there cash wise. So not only did they put him in jail because they put him in jail under false pretenses or a law that was not broken, but they also intact on financial disability to him because the fact is that he had to pay for his own recognizance. Why did he bail out? Well, he tried, but these were conditions of his bailing out of his bond. He couldn't have a cell phone. He could not. He had to keep he had to keep the monitoring device on, and there was other stipulations on there as well. I was like, oh shit, you should stay in jail. So that is just another piece of icing on top of the cake. I don't know how else to sit back and look at Angelina County and for people who live here to say this is okay. Because the fact is, it's not. We have a jail, the Angelina County Jail. It can't stay in compliance. There's always something on with the jail. Every year, they have to be reported on, and something has to be fixed. There's time in between there where it's not fixed. There's not fixed. There's more pride in taking of the jail on the jail, not because of the way it's run or how it takes care of its inmates when they're in there. There's more preference paid to how many peas or produce they're producing. It's cash money goes right in the sheriff's pocket. How is that possible? Well, he can sell those peas or whatever he wants to this private entity and turn it into a donation to the county. Can you say money laundering? Can you say RICO? I will guarantee you, if the FBI would get up off their ass and they would come in and they would look at the entire picture of the chain of events and the events that have happened within the last 5 years, they would have to actually research and they would actually come to the conclusion that there are RICO charges being broken here in Angelina County. Y'all know how it is. It's a good old boy network. The good old boy network runs everything. And even the illegal activity. Everybody gets a piece of the pie. Now, I know for some of you, this sounds like a mafioso type of deal. Blood in, blood out. It is. This is what you pray for the good old boy network. And the mafia that's Cosa Nostra. That's this thing that we are involved in, and this is the same thing in Angelina County. This thing that we're involved in, making money, scratching everybody's backs, and making sure the old money stays in power, because the fact is that that's the way they want to keep it. And the young people, they get left out, because the fact is nobody wants to return to this system of this way and system of doing things in a city or town. I cannot tell you how many people, and I like to talk to young people when I'm in the store or whatever. I say hi, I try to be friendly or whatever. I used to. Now I just keep to myself. For a lot of reasons, I'll go to these in the videos, but I just keep myself now. But I watched and I see these students, and I've heard many times and say, "Well, what are you going to do?" Because Stephen F. Austin is right up here in Nacogdoches, and perfect place to go to college. You can stay at home and go to college too, or whatever. That's not the first thing they say. I'm getting the hell out of Angelina County. We have had lawyers say the same thing. I'm getting the hell out of Angelina County. They will actually move their offices up to Nacogdoches, or actually surrounding areas, to actually practice law outside of Angelina County because of the good old boy network. To a lot of y'all, that means that has its own definition, but it all results in the same: is that there's a ruling class who gets over, and there's a class below that. So be it, that owes them something. Because my name is such and such, you owe me this. They'll bring it up to your conversation. Yeah, well, my dad founded that damn place over there. Hell, he paved that damn road. I can do whatever the hell I want to do. It's like your last name, or how much money your father had, or something. It's a lineage for your entire family to get to escape the rest of your life. The town owes you something for just by merely us being in your presence. You owe us. But having lived in many East Texas towns, this is not just Angelina County. It's worse than others. But it's always worked on the same premise. I'll close with this. And I went live. I know nobody was going to listen or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to share this to my pages. Let me ask you this. This has been a secret, but it's not a secret. It's untold secret that we don't talk about in Texas. Nobody ever talks about these places. Here recently, there was a video that was put out on Vidor, Texas. If you Google Vidor, Texas, you're going to get to see this video of a bunch of young kids at high school filming in the classrooms, in the school, saying the N-word over and over and over again, talking down of like blacks. They treat the same thing. They treat Latinos the same way. But anyway, this specifically was targeting black people. Do you know why that is? Vidor, Texas is 99.1% white. It's a sundown town. If you don't know what a sundown town, let me tell you what sundown town is. Is that excuse my language, but the fact is that you better have your ass out of city. Yeah, you better have your ass out of Vidor, Texas, when the sun goes down. Sundown town. If you're black and you live here and you were born here and raised anywhere in Texas, you know this. When we would ride in high school games, if we even went through high school football games or basketball games or baseball games, we would go through these towns. One another one, I'll bring it up in a minute. We would go through this town. Our black players, we would put them in our laps. They would just laid over in our laps till we got out of town. Because you couldn't travel through Vidor if you were black or you had anything to do with black people. What's even worse than that is that if you were a white person and you were mingling with blacks, so you had a black buddy, y'all went to the movies together, whatever, you went on whatever, you were guilty just as well. Now, there are all forms of racism, and I've seen it from him growing up in East Texas all the way through the military. And I have learned through the military that this thing, I mean, to where my stance is, people will especially in East Texas, will disagree with this. But the fact is that I realized, I learned in Afghanistan, we all bleed red. We come from different cultures. We come from different backgrounds, whatever. But you know what? Whenever I'm in the shit, I don't give a damn what red ass color you are. And I could give a shit less. But there's another town just like that in Texas. So this is just not the only. Another town called Lumberton, Texas. It's right north of Beaumont. It's all right. I'll tell you a funny story. Here in the news recently, the last name of this guy is Mitchell. He was arrested and charged in Lumberton for bank robbery. The funny part is the guy was black. And it's like, you know what, dude? He's probably the only black guy that hadn't got the message. If you're going to rob a bank, don't do it in Lumberton because you're the only white guy there. They don't allow whites into the area. So guess what? You're the only suspect. Even if you didn't even do it and the bank got robbed. Oh, there's a black guy over there. I bet you $10 he had something to do with it. Yeah, he's black. He had to do it. Come to find out though, he did do it. He just picked the wrong time to do it. You have to laugh at that. But as I've stated, these are the things that bring up. I'm going to try to do videos, and I always say that I'm going to try to continue to do videos, but I always end up, because I don't get it, people don't look at them or watch them, and I think I thought maybe I had a physical complex or whatever, but I really believe what it is that people don't want to hear what I'm saying. People don't understand what I'm describing. It's not they don't believe me. It's the fact is that if they took the time, they'd have to point their finger at themselves, because we as a public, as citizens of not only the state of Texas, but also citizens of the United States of America, we are responsible for the individuals we put in office. We get a chance to vote. We get a chance to vote and put those into our elected official spots to govern over us or to govern with us. To govern with us. You can't, if you can't put a person in there who's willing to govern with you and listen to the people and be transparent, then you're being ruled over. And you're scared of all the entities that they take place. In Angelina County, people are scared of the sheriff's department because the fact is they know they're going to get jacked up on some bullshit charge just to get them in jail. So Pedro over here can get his raise because he's made corporal, but he got to go for sergeant. So he's got to arrest. I got to arrest 10 more people. Nacogdoches right up here, DPS had a big trial on DPS because the fact is that it was a quota. Sergeant's coming out every morning. You got a quota. If you don't meet your quota, well, we're gonna write you up. Not doing your job. That's the only way I can tell you doing your job. No education, no nothing, no prior, no continuing education. And all you had to do was go out and write as many tickets as he said, dude. You can get as fast as you want to, whatever. Just had to write so many tickets. So, for those of you who do watch the rest of this video, the thing about it is that this is happening all over, and that it's especially bad in Texas. And unfortunately, the individuals who do speak up and do say something, they get harassed. I have been gotten harassed. I'll tell you that story. Whatever. A lot of people know the story, so I'll tell the story. If you ask me, if you email me, I'll tell you. I'll leave my email down in there, and you can email it, whatever. I'll tell you exactly what happened. But this is what we deal with here, and this is what our future holds for us here, and it is driving many businesses away from Angelina County. It is driving many citizens away from Angelina County, and what these people are finding that it's not just Angelina County; it's statewide. Small towns across the state of Texas, are known for this shit. but it's not going to change because we're not going to vote it out. We want to be one of the beneficiaries of voting somebody that'll help us do us favors. That's the way politics works down here. It's not about who's Republican, who's Democrat. It's not. It's who you know, what you know, who you blow to get what you want. Simple as that. Anyway, you guys, I have 3 pages. Angelina County Watchdog. That's my personal page. I mean, that's my go-to page. Is where I put all my research or whatever, and I do share America First 1776. I believe that's his name. I did send you an email. May not like what I said, but I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. And the Sentinel, they are really they are very apt, or they do want to hear some of these stories because they're right out of San Antonio, and they have a lot of the same kind of shit going on. So it's kind of good to correspond with them to find out what's going on there and how they're addressing it, or what moves are being made by politicians or whatever. So anyway, Angelina County Watchdog is another group that I'm an active member. I don't know who owns that, but anyway, I'm an active member there. And then my regular page. But anyway, I will Angelina County Watchdog, Angelina County Watch, and it says new beside it too. And then there's other places, whatever. So get involved in the conversation. I'm not Big Brother. I'm not gonna come down on you if you speaking your mind or whatever. But the fact is that we need to start the discussion. Because the fact is that we got too many people that are being railroaded by our law enforcement and our court system. I will get into our court system later. But for now, you guys have a great day. It's 6:15. It's 6/16/2022, and it's hotter than shit around my house. Excuse my language, but it's hotter than shit around here. Ain't been outside all day. Anyway, you guys be good. Be careful. Keep powder dry. I'm out. Well, yeah.